I'll be gone for a minute, but when I come back, mate, it's like I never left. What's going on, man? What's going on, everybody? What's up? Come on in here. It's Achad. That's how you should address me. You know what I mean? Achad. You know what I mean? Holography. Ether-INS. You know what I mean? Theory Institute. Coming back. Been gone for a while, but not to those who are subscribed to my Patreon. They be seeing me every week. So this is what I would love for you to do if you could. You know what I'm saying? Pow. Make your way over to this screen. Check me out. I know you can sit here and see stuff. You can't watch the video or look at the the captions all the way. But what you can do is see what's being produced every week for those that are subscribed to my Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Check me out. I'm putting way much more educational things and things to learn about alchemy, obia, Kabbalah, you know what I'm saying, occult microbiology, metaphysics, alchemy, the Isis thesis, all the stuff y'all was asking before. Now it's on display, you know what I'm saying? It's on display. And let's not forget that every time you jump on one of these lives, we got to come with, the book. You know what I'm saying? I got this. Hold on, let me take this blur thing off 1 second so that you can see the glory of what we're doing over here. Just the glory, you know what I mean? Take that off. You know what I'm saying? It's the glory. Holography, the whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline. Achad. Check me out. Link is scrolling across the screen right there. Holography.com/the book. Patreon link and Cashapp link. It's all there. Because you know what I'm saying? I want to be an exchange of value. I give you top value, you give me top value in return. You know what I mean? But let's continue with what we want to talk about here today. So we need to start discussing experiential learning. Because in my book that I just showed on the screen is, I deal with experience, expertise, experiential learning. I deal with that extensively in my book because it's a missing element, or it's a least delved into element that you see with a lot of people trying to teach you things, whether we're talking about, institutionalized education, alternative education, or you come on here on YouTube and listen to one of us tell you what we think we know. Where is the experiential learning? Where is the practice to go with it? So what I have on the screen here is experience. You know how much I love etymology because we're dealing with roots, we're dealing with seeds, with kernel work. That's what we do. So let me just enlarge this here. So experience. Are you experienced? Do you have experience? That's what the, the little application on indeed.com asks you, monster.com. You know what I mean? What's the other ones? Zip Recruiter. It's a lot of scammers on Zip Recruiter. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all be trying to find some remote job work. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of scammers on there. Watch yourself. Watch out. Observation as a source of knowledge. Very key word in what I do. Observation. See, a lot of people just want to think all day. Somebody tried to argue with me before because try to talk about under and overthinking. Observation doesn't require you to have brain-based thought or ego-based thought attached to that. You're just in observation. If anything, if you're going to be doing meditation, because I know, this is a spiritual space, your meditation should be for the purpose of increasing your observational skill, your observational ability. You have the potential, but where do you turn potential into actuality or ability? So observation as a source of knowledge, actual observation, an event which has affected one. So it goes into Old French, dealing with experiment, proof, experience, experientia, a trial proof experiment, knowledge gained by repeated trials. From experientum, experiencing, active, industrious. Coming from the present participle, experiri, experiri, to test or try out. Key word again is test. See, you're not being tested enough, because it's the testing that actually really draws out what's already in you. See, you keep looking outside yourself for the answers, but the answers, pal, sis, is right there in you the whole time. So my greatest achievement or accomplishment as a teacher, instructor, disciplinarian, whatever, is to get you to see how all the answers is right there in you. It's not just about showing, like, trying to impress you with my information, or impress you with what I think I know, or what I've read in my fucking library, my books. I've written a book. I've written books. Yeah, sure. But the real teaching here, the real instruction, is you being able to find the answers that was with you the whole time. You'll see how this whole fucking society is based on distracting you from your, inner content, or your in structure, as I like to call it. I put in my book here. Another excuse to always an excuse to put the book on the motherfucking screen. You know what I'm saying? Always an excuse. But anyway, that's what I want to specialize in. If I'm gonna be a specialist of sorts, you know what I'm saying? Because I do talk about specialism, how there's undue focus of that within the realm of education, but you want to expand beyond that. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's bad for you to be a specialist, is that you only focus on being a specialist when you should be widening your scope and your horizons to be more like a holographer, like how I'm promoting. You know what I mean? But I do see like there's a lack of focus in this area, because again, you live in a digital age. You live in an age of information, not necessarily an age of meaning. I also talk about the poverty of attention. There's a wealth of information on this hand. You can see my hand. Oh, let me make the screen bigger, because you need theatrics and um you know uh motion, keep people from being bored and shit. So on one hand, you have the wealth of information. You can type everything in your Google search. You can go search everything I just told you, everything in my book, everything in the books you've read, everything's anybody's ever said. You can type that up, Google it, look on Wikipedia, go to Google Scholar. You can do that all day, all night. But on the other hand, there's a poverty of attention, wealth of information, poverty of no, not attention, poverty of poverty of attention. There we go, and poverty of meaning also. So you see, there's an upsurge of data, but there's a decrescendo. You know what I'm saying, where things are going downwards of actual meaning, people getting the true meaning of something, and then the attention span. That's one of my favorite subjects to talk about is attention span, because that's also something that's lacking out here. Is I gotta sit here and be entertaining for you to listen to some real information, some real knowledge, right? And if I don't capture your attention within the first 8 seconds or 9 seconds of the video, you're gonna be like, I'm turning this off. There's somebody right in here right now. They was sitting here watching and got the fuck off this live. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't grab their attention right at the start of the video. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because now you could be manipulated with that little bit of attention span that you got. So all it takes is to throw some flashy shit in your face, and you know what I'm saying? Instead of focusing on something and keeping your attention and being able to go a little bit more depthical with what you're looking at. Like, you a surface dweller, you know what I'm saying? You just swim in 2 feet of water. Like we going into the depths, the depthicals. And that's something that I really should have stressed in my book, is how you're more easily manipulated when you have that short attention span. Because again, it's just like a flash. Like, whatever's flashing, your eye is on it. Even if it's a false flash. A flash meant to, again, keep you from focusing, concentrating, meditating, contemplating, observing. You can't really observe a flash because there's always a how the fuck can you live like that? How do you learn like that? That's why your social media apps are structured that way, especially TikTok. And then you got Instagram and all these other, you got YouTube too coming out with shorts trying to, copy TikTok and shit like that. That's what you call social engineering. That's why I said before the corona bottle hit in 2020, you was already being social distanced by the social media. Yeah, it didn't take no, worldwide, pandemic for all that. All it took was, again, social media. That's all it takes. So that whole corona bottle thing was just an extension of that. You was already being distanced from family members. You text people their birthday. You don't even call them no more. You text them their birthday. But this all ties back into what we're talking about here today is experience. Because if your experience throughout the day is just you looking at flashes and shortcuts and movies, and if you watch a movie, the way that they amp up the tension of the film is to do, quick cuts. Like if you watch an action scene, it's not long, drawn out cuts of a scene. Like it's quick cuts. It's the villain face, the hero face, the car, the gun. Like it's like split second flashes of with the camera, what I'm saying, picked up doing principal photography and then edited in that fast pace. And then if you want to slow the film down, you have longer drawn out, shots, like shots that'll be like 30 seconds or longer or something like that. That's a way to condition the mind. And these social media apps know how to do that. They hire psychologists to, give them that information or that knowledge to be able to then engineer you that way by you being on the app. That's why I still have like an appreciation for YouTube, even though they're trying to do them shorts. I still have an appreciation because there's long form content. Like you still can upload content that's hours long, you know what I mean? For you to really concentrate and be able to like sink into a subject that's being presented to you, via, the video or whatever. So that can really, do damage to your experiential ability to observe things. Because if it's not something that's flashing at you in an instant, you're going to get bored or you're going to get disinterested or you're not going to look further into that thing because it just flashed. You know what I'm saying? So if you add that with the propaganda of a film and it's also doing those flash cuts on you, you can see why a lot of people right now look like The Walking Dead. Or why their faces is glued to, the screen of their phone all day. You know what I'm saying? But going back to experience, and this is something that I want to focus on with things going forward because that's how I know you're learning. That's how I know you're getting what's being told to you. If there's no activity for you to learn for yourself and get the answers that's already dwelling in within you, all I could be doing here is probably just misdirecting you, being deceptive, deceitful, or giving you something that's surface level, like it's nothing that goes in depth. There's no experience to it. It's just you being given information for you to then parrot to other people. Or given information for you just to emulate the person given information, but you're not doing the actual experiential learning though. My partner, I would hate for you to go through something like that or continue to go through something like that. You feel me? That's why, I'm also on here to let you know that there will be like what's the word I can use? A renaissance, a revitalization, a rejuvenation of my course content that I'm gonna be putting up here in the next week or so, where you're gonna actually, if you like, once you enroll, you're gonna see how you need to actually be able to be doing something, like be engaged in an activity rather than me just giving you information. Because you can get it's a wealth of information. There's free PDFs out there, but that doesn't mean you're getting the experiential learning. Doesn't mean that. You just got the experiential learning of picking up a fucking book or a PDF. That's it. So you sat here and read a book on, I don't know, landscaping, just for example, like cutting grass and shit like that and making the flowers look a certain way for your granny or something like that for your mama. Until you do that, you didn't learn anything. You know the information about it, but you don't know these experiences in the high sun, we talking about spring or summertime, and you getting down into those roots in that dirt and laying that soil out and making it look beautiful for the, you know what I'm saying, for the guests. Or making it look like you're into artwork when people drive by your house or something like that. You don't know the landscape. You don't know how to cut grass. You just know the information on how to cut grass. Until you go get on one of those, you know, one of those motherfucking I'll be seeing lawn niggas out here all the time. Like they be out here cutting all the grass. You'll never know how to cut grass till you cut it. You got people that could come out here and claim some sort of expertise just because they read some books. No, that's not expertise. Notice how the word expertise connects directly and has the same roots as experience. So a true expert is someone who is experienced in something. And then you would have to also gauge, well, how much of that experience did they really, benefit from or increase their or improve from based on having that experience. Again, I talk about all this in this book here that you probably don't have, or you do have, we don't know. And then like there's no, courses in, just, institutionalized education. Where are the courses where you study experience itself? Where are those courses? Was that ever in your curriculum where you studied experience itself, like the science of experience itself? Because that's the true and living expert. I consider myself an expert just based on what I know about experience. The science of experience, the reason why you're going through the things you're going through now, the reason you went through the things you did before, and the reason why you will be going through things going forward in the future over time. You say time doesn't exist, but a lot of people make it exist by believing in it. So just based on that, it exists. So there's a doing involved in that. Yes, you can think all day, and you can sit here and say, "Well, I'm an experienced thinker." Everybody's a experienced thinker. There's people that don't even think straight and be thinking all day. What does that mean? Like you thinking all day doesn't mean you doing it right or you doing it effectively. Like it's people that sit here and think about how they going to sit here and rob somebody the next day, or think about how they going credit card scam somebody. You could think about that all day. Doesn't mean that it's the way to think. It doesn't mean that you sat here and thought it all the way through. Because you thought you was gonna get away with it, but you didn't know that some of these cybersecurity professionals know how to hack into things and get to you faster than you thought it was possible. You didn't think it through. But what about observing? What about observational skill? What about being able to find the observer within the perceiver? Because one thing you do outside of thinking is perceiving. You perceive things before you even think about them too. Because I have to present something to your eyeballs or your earlobe or your eardrums, or some for your nose to smell, or some for you to feel with your fingers or your hands or toes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or some for you to taste, or you doing a taste test like at the ice cream parlor or something like that. Because now that's what perception is. Then after you perceive it, you're processing it or going through some cognitive process within your mind where you're processing the information. Sometimes it's a split second thing. Sometimes it takes you, a while to process the information. Like being traumatized, you may not be able to process something right then and there after you've been traumatized by it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have this happen to you, but let's say you get your leg cut off like just instantly. You wouldn't be able to process that right away because it's a shocking thing. It's like your leg isn't there. It takes a while for you to process what the fuck just happened. Like your shit just got yanked off. You probably can't even feel the pain at the time. Then the pain sets in. I remember being in certain fights in school where, I'm sitting here fighting somebody. We brawling. Kids back in the 90s or early 2000s, we fighting. What I'm saying? Ain't no knives, ain't no guns and nothing like that. We just getting it in. We scrapping. And you don't feel the pain of that until your adrenaline wears off. You know what I'm saying? You got a knot on your head. It's like it don't start hurting until like your heightness then died down. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, there was a time where I was fighting and I got stabbed in my back. So I didn't feel the knife going in, and it didn't hurt. But when I put my hand on my back, I felt something going down my back. It was blood. And it was only when I got to the hospital to get like the staples put in my back where I was like, oh, this shit hurts. Like I said, I didn't feel the knife going into my back. I didn't process it. It happened so quick. It wasn't like, they just put it in real slow. Like, nah. It was like real fast. You don't feel that because it takes a while for you to process what just happened. It's not something that happens daily or every second of the day. It's something that, was just out of nowhere and you don't feel it. So think about all the, not to go off on a tangent, but think about all the traumas you experience and how you haven't processed that stuff yet. You haven't made sense of it yet. You haven't figured out exactly what it was and why it happened yet. It was an experience, but this is one of the things or the hallmarks of initiation is that there are things that are going to happen to you. And it's only after it has happened that you then go on the journey to figure out what just happened to you. I mean, I ain't got to tell you what the happenings are, but it's the whole science of we're going to do it. And then you have to figure out why we're doing it. Because that's what I experienced definitely when you get into masonry. It's the same thing. So a lot of those rituals, which are all on the YouTube for some reason, if you really figure out why your pant leg is up or why this is over your neck or this is you're in the like these are all symbolic semiotic meanings. So this also ties into the key thing of this book here also is semiotics or semiosis. So, like I said, there's a lot of people that don't, they don't know this stuff, but they still keep telling you all this information. And just because they're a wealth of information, they can be just as impoverished with just as impoverished as you are in the realm of attention and meaning. All this information, you don't even know what it means. Whether we're talking about bytes of information or we're talking about the whole shebang bang, like the whole thing of the information, the whole data bank of information. You know what I'm saying? Where's the experiential learning? Where is that? Well, can you find it? Can you bring it to me? Can we go through something like that? So if you look at the average human, there's only so much experience you have as a human being. Like there's so many different flavors of experience, but it's still kind of, a parameter to that. So once you jump out or step outside of that human parameter of experience, that's where you're developing and going beyond the human limitation. But this is the hot seat right now for me. Experience, expertise. You know what I'm saying? Some as expert readers. You read fast. I was never able to read fast. Like reading the book, like book reading. Can't read that fast. I would always get a tad bit of envy. Like when I was in grade school, it was some of these girls in the class. Like how you read the whole fucking Harry Potter book in 2 days? How do you do that? And they try to put that off as, that kid must be smarter than everybody else. Not necessarily. It's just that you have probably a processing speed that's quicker than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You can process the words on the page much faster. And sometimes that could be what I'm saying, a ruse or a hoax, because, what I'm saying, you could be sitting here skipping over words and shit like that. So how do we know that you read it that fast? You know? Just dealing with experience, for example. Because one thing I would love for you to avoid, if you would, is stop being an armchair scholar, where you don't go beyond, you know, because the reason why it's talking about armchair is that people that just sit there and read books and they're in a seat somewhere and that's it. And not to say that that's wrong in and of itself, is it's a limitation. Is like, if that's what all you're all about, then you severely limited yourself in your learning experience. And notice how, like, if you go to college, where, you're spending like $800 for like a textbook for a course that you're, what I'm saying, $800 for a textbook that they're going to update next year. I forgive everybody that ever convinced me that college was a good idea. I'll forgive them. I forgive them. I do. Because initially I never wanted to go to college. That wasn't my plan. And I should have stuck to my plan. I was listening to other people who thought that it would be good for me to be in a college setting. And not to say that it's all bad. It's not. It's just that if I, what I'm saying, that's not a route for me. Especially now that I can create courses that can, deliver experiential learning much better than, say the shit that you find at a university. Because the only thing that validates a university is accreditation. So if you can sit here and undermine accreditation, then what's the value of you being in that course? And for those of you who don't know, accreditation is, those societies that they have like 4 of them or 5 of them throughout the United States, where, they're their authority on, colleges and getting credits each time you get, you pass a course. And you're supposed to, something like 120 credits that you're supposed to receive before you can graduate for most 4-year universities. But not to focus on them. It's just that, we're just talking about education in general. Because that's where my that's where I focus on, like, education. What you are getting from one of these institutions, what you're getting from the books you read, for your own independent study, and also what you hear from people like us on YouTube and stuff, you know what I mean, or social media. Authors like me, you know what I mean? But my book, I tell you to go towards experiential learning, because everybody's authority can be questioned, including mine, including yours, including the conscious leader or community person, or, what I'm saying, your authority is not unquestionable. I can question anybody's authority on anything. I can test your authority on anything. You're not above examination. You're not above testing. I've said this many times before. That's why a lot of people get upset with me when I'm challenging something that they believe in or that they've been told or thinking, because they hold that person that told them that shit in such high esteem that they can't stand when you're saying something that is a challenge to what they've been told. You can tell that there's no room for growth right there unless they, open up their mind a little bit, their horizons, and learn something new. Take it from me, I will test anybody's authority. I don't care how old the authority is. It could be an authority 3,000 years old, or it can be authority a year old. It doesn't matter. If you're going to sit here and be somebody putting out information, putting out knowledge, putting out know-how to do this, to do that, you should expect to be challenged and tested on your shit. Point blank bird. You know what I'm saying? Point blank. Mm-hmm. Let's take a break right quick. Let me take a quick break and I'll be right back at you. Hold on. Greetings, folks. This is Achad. Had to cut into the video to let you know that this book here, Wholography, now it's on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. So if you have the Kindle service, you can definitely check it out. There's even a longer sample for you to read, where you can really get into if you really want to know about my book or not. For me, it's more about getting the book out there rather than trying to make a sale exclusively. So but if you are one of those scholars where you want the book, you want to do some highlighting and some annotating, and you really want to tear it apart, which that's what I really want you to do, then definitely go to my website, holographer.com/the-book. You know what I'm saying? And do it that way. Either way is cool with me. And now back to the video. We back at it. How you doing? What's going on? Alcott back in the building, back on the live. We talking about experience, but I titled this live Universe City. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Kanye fan from back in the day, he had this website for his music, and it was called Universe City. You know what I'm saying? I always was inspired by that play on the word university, Universe City. And that's what I'm going to establish here. What it is being established here over at the holography /ether-ins.teachable.com, which we're going to, cut that website out because they keep going up on the fees there. They trying to, they trying to, drain every cent out of them. You know what I'm saying? Got to switch that up. But going back to the words testing, drawing things out, true education is where you're being drawn out. The only answers you should be looking for is the answers in you. That is the greatest form of answers. Tell me a greater answer than what you already embody within yourself. Mr. Anderson. They don't be realizing that you this is a self thing. I don't know why people be having a hard time understanding that. I've told you many times before that these ancient, priests and scientists, the height of their information was self-knowledge. There was no greater information than that. It all tied back to that kernel, that seed of self-knowledge. All the gods that you was worshiping, all the, planetary movements and stars and constellations and all that shit, all the things you saw out in nature. These were all pieces of yourself. It starts with self. The destination is self. The beginning and the end is self. In the middle is self. So self-referential knowledge is where you need to be. That's where I would place you. That's what I would direct you and guide you to. You know what I'm saying? That's what's being drawn out in every experience of your life. In this life, past lives, and any lives you're going to live after this one, if that's what you believe in or that's what you think is true. Why is that a hard concept to follow? It shouldn't be. But no, for some people, it's going to take a while for them to grasp that understanding. Hell, even your Bible, some of you grew up in a Christian household. I mean, even right there, you was getting that self-referential information encoded in those Bible verses and didn't even know it. Talking about 24 elders, you should know that they was talking about your rib cage. Or if you want to sit here and talk about zodiac, I mean, you can also align that with, we talking about the body. You can align that with the 12 cranial nerves in your brain. Like there's, you want to talk about the Goetia and the 72, goetic demons. That could be tied to the 72 parts of your pineal gland. All this stuff is self-referential, man. So what sense does it make that you're sitting here following behind people that are, veering you away from your own self-knowledge? Know thyself. That's the core of what I'm talking about here. Sometimes you need to be told this in multiple videos, you know what I'm saying? Because you probably heard me say it before the video, but sometimes you need a repetitive, you know, messages, you know what I mean? Like when your mom said go take out that trash and she told you 3 times, so you get surprised and upset that when your dad get home and he whoop your ass because you didn't get up and get that trash taken out the first time. Maybe that's how you learn. You need an ass whooping. I don't know. Because that's one thing I don't do. Like I ain't gonna impede your ability to learn or impede the way you learn. I can tell you stuff, but it ain't gonna probably make sense until something happens. People get, so, nervous and worried, sick about their children, but it's like I told the child what they needed to know. There's still a inkling of responsibility for that child to listen to, you know, or heed good counsel. You know what I mean? Because if you're gonna sit here and overblame the parent for why a child turned out the way they did, well, on the occult side, we understand that you chose your parents and you chose the situation you was born into. So that's really ultimately your responsibility as that child. It may not seem like that because you're just a little baby, a little kid, but understand that you are a soul in a kid's body, and that changes the dynamics of the understanding, don't it? Doesn't it? That's why am I blaming my mother or my father for the way I turned out? Wasn't this what I chose? Who chose it for me then? Because if you're gonna walk throughout life and not take responsibility for your existence, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you're gonna get lessons that'll direct you right where you need to learn that. So that's why we can say, what victim, you know what I mean? What victim? I don't claim victimhood or victim mentality or victim morality. There is no victimhood about me. Can you feel it through the screen as you're watching and the speakers as you're hearing it? Can you feel it in your spirit? Can you? Because it ties back to experiential learning. See what you're made of. You know what I mean? See what comprises you. Like what constitutes your being. That's the reason for your experiences, basically. You're seeing what you are made of. So that means every moment, every step of the day is a moment of self-revelation if you're observing it. So it goes back to observation, don't it? Well, let's go back to this rendition of the etymology of the word. I'm glad that they put this word here. Now, imagine this for a moment, that if you went to one of these universities out here and the key thing to be, dealt with is observation. Because it seems to me when you get there, it's just a lot of, you're going to remember this for the test, or you got to read this expensive as, uh, propaganda scientific book, just to have a passing grade. And more power to you if that's what you want to do. Because I know if you're going to be something like a scientist, a doctor, or a dentist, or anything like that, then yeah, I would agree that you need to, you know, have that experience. Like you need to be in some sort of classroom where you're seeing someone's teeth being worked on if you're going to be a dentist. Not just you being put in a classroom and they tell you what this tooth is and what type of diseases are in the mouth, and now you're some sort of dentist. It's like, well, where was the part where you actually worked on someone's mouth or teeth? Or where they sent you to be an intern at an actual dentistry office where you was there to observe how, the senior dentist is working on someone's teeth. And knowing, because there's things that a book won't be able to kind of give you a guideline on. You're going to have to wing it. It's not going to account for every type of experience you're going to have. It's not. Because you can go by the book and be faced with an experience where it's like nothing in the book taught you that, or told you what to do in this situation that you didn't anticipate. Then what? Huh? Because I know, like going to certain schools like that, I kind of felt cheated. I felt cheated because I don't know how I'm gonna use what I just learned in this course in my actual life. And this is a common thing, right? Like when you was in grade school, I had, what the fuck am I use algebra for? Or calculus or trigonometry? What am I use this stuff for? You know what I'm saying? But I figured out with the algebra thing, if you're gonna be a coder or dealing with computers, which everybody deals with, even back in the days of MySpace, like you had to switch out certain variables and keep in constants if you wanted your MySpace page to look a certain way. So that's if you knew algebra, you'd be an ace at that now. But that's something that they didn't tell us back. They just, it was just part of the curriculum for you to know algebra. But if that was something that you readily understood and caught up on, you should be like a superior coder, a computer programmer of some sort, a web developer, making 100,000 or more a year. You know what I'm saying? Making six figures just doing this all day. Six figures doing this all day. But like I said, if I'm going to sit here and write a book about education, there was, for me to actually do my own independent study into schools and how people learn and how education actually happens. So, like I said, your true education is always a drawing out. So in a university, that's what we're doing. If you're going to observe, just like how the word says, university. What is a university if you're not studying the universe? Gotta kind of make sense of shit. If you sit here at university and you didn't study nothing about the universe, or how it all fits as one thing, you kind of wasted your time, and they got you for your money, and they made you a debt slave. So now they keep coming out with these. I keep getting these notifications on my phone talking about Biden. The Joe Biden president is going to uh, give out loan forgiveness for people. You know what I'm saying? But where's the study of the actual universe and how the universe relates to you as the observer of that universe? Where is it? You know what I'm saying? Where is it? Where'd it go? What you studying? What you want? What you thought? What are you perceiving? What is your observational skill? Have you ever meditated and observed your own perception? Have you ever done that? Did you ever do that before? Because when your skill of observation increases, so does your ability, for example, to interpret your dreams. or know why certain people come into your life at certain times in certain places. See, this is what the expert knows. If you're a true expert, if you're an actual studied and tried and true expert, that's what I learned. Even just also being an initiate of what I'm initiated into. My observation skills have increased. It's like being psychic in a way. It's like knowing things before they happen, just because of cycles, for example, or just understanding why when you did this, this happened. There's people who lack that. But don't worry, never fear, because I'm here to kind of bring you those type of courses. You know what I'm saying? So one of the reasons why I'm coming out with this video is, like I said, to let you know, if you want to truly learn and truly be educated and truly use what you have learned, not just in the setting of the school or the class, but using it outside of your class and going into the years for the rest of your life, then that's what I want to provide you with, that type of value. A value that keeps appreciating with time. You know what I'm saying? Do you know the concept of perpetuity? No? See, perpetuity is just what it is in the word. It's perpetual income. It's not a one-time thing, it's a perpetual income streams. Perpetual. And ideally for the rest of your life. That's not something a job is going to give you. It may be something that if you save up the pension in the 401k plan, perhaps you'll get that when you retire. But why wait till age 65 to retire? What if you could retire at age 39 or something? The shit that they never taught you until you get age 39. But luckily you learned it now than never. You know what I'm saying? Or later. But when it comes to me talking about courses and education and all that, perpetuity in this sense is you keep learning from something that you only learn once, but because you keep doing it, you're still learning more about it without even having to keep trying to research it in books or websites or listen to anybody say it. Like, for example, if I taught you how to fish and then you was fishing for 30 years after that, there's things you're going to learn about fishing that I don't think no one can ever teach you or get from a book, because you have the experience of sinking that line into the water and knowing, what type of muscles you need to develop or what bait works best. You know what I'm saying? So you keep learning. All I said was, you got to put this on the hook and put it in the water and wait for, a tug and pull the motherfucking fish out of the water. That's all I had to teach you or show you how to do. But then 30 years later, you're a master at it, because you kept getting information or perpetual knowledge on it based on doing it. Duh. Based on doing it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you get it from me. That's kind of how this initiation thing kind of works a little bit. You know what I mean? Well, I ain't even gonna say a little bit. It's part of it. That's why, like I said, you deal with certain systems where there's certain rituals or certain you know, ceremonial things that you do, and you're supposed to learn the depths of that shit. It's symbolic. There's a semiotic value to it that you'll keep getting bits and pieces off of it. The more you do it, the more you see it, the more you study into it. And that's why the book only kind of plays like a passenger role in that, because it may provide some information that you need. However, it takes a second role in that, or a backseat role, because the true role is you being driving. You gonna sit here and read a book and drive at the same time? Yeah, you can read the book on driving, but somebody has to be out there to, you know, give you some pointers on how to whip that wheel, how to do that motherfucking K turn or whatever, that U turn, or you know what I'm saying? Learning how to keep us a following distance. Because some of y'all dumbass drivers don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? fuck you get your license from? You know what I mean? I gotta drive. This is from Method Man. I gotta drive to win. So where you niggas get your license from? You know what I mean? But notice, but here's a trick to it though. This is stuff you already know. It's already in you. That's the little secret that I can share with you. It's stuff that you already know. It's already in you. You just need the proper channels and the proper guide to get you back to that of what you already have in you. It's almost like unlocking an unlockable. Like if you're playing like I don't know, like Call of Duty or something or Xbox or something. It's an unlockable. You're unlocking a already installed procedure or process or function, waiting in dormancy, waiting to come online. That's what you ought to be learning at a university. As you study the world, as you study the cosmos, you know what I'm saying? How does this fit into my experience, though? Why should I know that there's 88 constellations? Like, what's the point of knowing that? Okay, now that I know it, now what? Do I use it? Like, what's the? Is it just to impress my social media followers or subscribers? Like, what do I do with 88 constellations? What do I do with algebraic expressions? Like, what do I do with trigonometry or trigonometry functions? Like, what do I do with this stuff? Does it improve me? Is it a tool that I can use to improve my life or improve my situation or to make me more observational? Like when I came out with those 3 videos dealing with the dark side, occult, Kabbalah, and computers. So it's a whole playlist where I got those 3 videos. So that was some things that you know is worth knowing, but you know, what's the use of it? Well, notice how I connected it to, you know, the whole clip off and you know the tree of life and all that stuff, the Kabbalah. So if you're doing any type of work with that, it would behoove you to know this stuff or how it connects to computers. Because now you get to juxtapose them together and see the correspondences between them or correlations between them. Now that takes your working of this whole Kabbalistic thing to a brand new level out here. You're more advanced than the Kabbalist, the average Kabbalistic worker. Just because someone showed you how it relates to something that's familiar to everybody, computers. So if you see the analogy of a computer and the terminal and the command prompt and how that relates to all this occult Kabbalah stuff, it's like now you could take your Kabbalistic workings beyond the average worker. You know what I'm saying? That's a true education. Yeah, man. So if I got to do that to get you to trust in my, you know, ability to be a professor, because you know, I don't know if I said this before or here, but you know, when I was 14 years old, it was only my mom who knew I was going to be a professor one day. She saw it. And no, I'm not a professor at a college, but like I said, if I have the means to create my own, in which you, like I said, any state you live in, you can create your own business and make it an educational one. What's stopping you from creating your own school if that's something that you're, you know, being called to do, or that's something that you came here to do? And then getting confirmations for it, like for example, if you're into astrology like me, then you know that, you know, if you have Sagittarius on your 10th house midheaven, that's you should already know that you're in this bitch to teach or do something Sagittarian. You know what I mean? So again, what do you feel is true education, and why is it, if it's true education, you have to figure out like why is it leading you away from yourself? Got all this data, but the data is not self-referential, or you're not looking at it in a self-referential way, as you ought to be, especially if you are an initiate of some sort. What type of initiate ain't dealing with knowledge? That's not how that goes. You're dealing with a fake or some sort of imitation of the real thing if you're dealing with information that is not self-referential. So that's really what I only, what I came here today, after a hiatus, you know what I'm saying? Got to make sure this stuff is more frequent. But again, like I said before, my patrons don't have that issue. They get this type of information. I'm just dealing with stuff on the surface right now, but they get some more in-depth stuff, some depthical things right here in my Patreon. You know what I'm saying? So we 45 videos in. So check me out on that. And also never fail to, what I'm saying, get you the book of mine, this holography, deal with the whole writing of the arts and sciences. Like, make sure you get one of these so that you could have this explanation and these things shown to you right there in, the comfort of your home or wherever you read stuff at. Make sure you get one of these. The link, hold on, let me put the link across the screen. Feel me? Stop settling for people who ain't really educating you, man. They just telling you information. Why would I need to tell you information where you can sit here and get that shit from anywhere on this internet? What you might not get on this internet is someone giving you like real live instruction, though. You know what I'm saying? And in that sense, yeah, you need to pay me for that because that's my time and that's my instruction. And, also some secret things that, if you paid for it, then you get that. But as far as like just information everywhere, it's like, again, you can search this and scour this internet for everything. So if all someone is giving you is just, information and no real instruction on something, then why would you spend your money? That's what I'm asking you today. So again, I want to get some appreciation to my Patreon down here. You know what I'm saying? Their contribution helps me to come through here and, deliver this stuff to you right now, you know? And thank you for everybody that purchased the book, whether it was through through me or through Amazon, or what I'm saying, dealing with the what's it called? I forgot the name of it already. The Amazon Kindle. There we go. So think about signing up and getting the true education that I just sat here and explained to you in the way that it was explained. So again, Achad, I appreciate the watchings and the comments and the criticisms too, and the spectators. You know what I'm saying? Not spectators, spec haters. You know what I mean? They only sat here and watch you to hate. That's all they do, and to criticize and put you down. But like I said, hey, it's truth when you hear, you can feel it in your soul or whatever. So again, Alakad, check y'all out later.